Yo, what's up guys? How you doing? Hope you guys are having a good day. Today we are, of course, we're back vlogging, which is always a good place to be, but we're actually going to be checking out the DJI Spark. Now, this is something I've been super looking forward to. If you guys have seen my, in fact, if you guys have been on this channel for a while and you've seen my Japan vlogs, then you may know I already have a drone. I have a DJI Mavic. Some of you guys, if you know about this thing, might be thinking, well, hold on a minute. If you have a Mavic, why on earth did you buy this? And in truth, I don't use my drones a great deal. And that's partly because when I travel, every single place you go to has different drone regulations. When you go to the States, like when I went to Orlando, I needed a license. When I went to LA, you can fly it, but not if you're near airports, and I was really near an airport. So you get the point. It's not always the easiest thing to do. However, outside of gaming, I love my tech, I love gadgets, I just love cool things like this. And when Mavic came out, of course, like late last year, I'd always wanted a drone, and it was compact enough to kind of warrant the purchase. And while I've only used it a few times, I absolutely love it. So when DJI announced this, which is like this is their entry into the kind of entry-level drone market. If you are kind of a person that isn't necessarily going to be using it for some kind of commercial things, but you just always wanted a drone, this comes in at about $500. I think it's also about £500 if you buy just this without the remote, which is what I did because when I got it, the remote was out of stock. So yeah. It's really, really affordable in the grand scheme of things. I appreciate £500 and dollars. It's still a fair amount of money, but in the kind of drone sphere, it is nothing. When you think that Phantoms are a couple of £1,000s, Inspires up, I don't even want to think about how much they cost. So yeah, it's really cool. And I figured what we'd do, since I never actually did a proper video on the Mavic, I thought what we would do is get the Spark and then just fly them together, see how they go. So the plan for today is to actually head out somewhere not too far away because it's supposed to rain today. It's also quite cloudy, quite windy. Not ideal conditions, but right now the weather's pretty good. So we're going to head out very shortly, test them both out and sort of see how they fare. So with that in mind, very first thing we need to do is, of course, unbox it and set up the firmware. So let's do that. So, a little bit windy out here, not too sure how it's going to go, but found a place that I can test Spark and the Mavic. However, before I test the Mavic and the kind of Spark together, I want to test out this ability to, so you can use a phone with this, right? You can use the phone here. Of course there's a controller, I don't have the controller, but there's also a way to fly this in selfie mode and effectively do it all through gestures. So I want to put this in my pocket, no phone, no magic. Supposed to be able to fly this from the palm of my hand and then control it around, not in the same way you would like normally, so you won't have all the precision and stuff. It's literally just basic gestures for like taking photos of you and your friends, but I'm gonna try it out. So supposedly, we turn it on, there we go, and then supposedly I'm supposed to double tap the back of it, okay, and then it should fly itself. I feel like some kind of crazy, like, Minority Report. So, next question is, if I then bring it back to focus on me, I should be able to land it. So in theory, now that is pretty cool. I mean, bear in mind, limited utility, because of course you're not exactly going to be going and like flying under bridges, flying it through like buildings or like over crazy sceneries, because it's all like gesture control based on there. However, if you're with a group of friends and say you were standing on a cliff and you want to get like a cool photo, you could literally just launch it, send it out, and then get some cool sort of selfie photos, videos and stuff, and that would be pretty cool. So that, at least the ability to fly itself with gestures, no phone, which has, by the way, been in my pocket this whole time, that in itself is a success. However, now we're going to try and fly it. With my phone, and then we're going to go sort of fly down there, past the bridge, over the fields, try and get some shots. This has got about a 16-minute battery life, so based on the fact that I've used it a tiny bit already, probably looking at about 12-13 minutes. So gonna get some shots and then try and mirror those shots with the Mavic and see how it comes out. Okay, so test number one, in truth, hasn't actually been that successful. I was hoping to kind of like get some footage, which you guys will see, but every time I went literally about 50 meters down there, my phone kept on disconnecting from the device, and then my only option then is just to let it return to home, which is kind of annoying. I mean, I appreciate you're not going to have as big a range with this when compared to, say, like the Mavic, but still, not even being able to fly it just down to like the bridge down there. Interesting. However, I feel like I might have been doing something wrong, so I will do some reading up on this and try and do like another test. However, for the time being, the battery's already out on this one, so that kind of renders that one a little bit useless. Mavic time. So, I'm back now. I've done some reading, and it's kind of what my assumptions were whilst we were out in the field. Because I was flying using the phone, and we are connected via Wi-Fi, there is a very limited range. It's about 79 meters, kind of if you push it really, really far out and you've got max signal strength. But based on kind of what I had about sort of 60 to 70 meters. So that is effectively what you're going to get if you're flying it with your phone. Now, that makes sense. You know, when you think about it, you're using Wi-Fi, whereas if you connect via a remote, you are using GPS. It then connects to a whole number of GPS satellites. In fact, on the screen itself, it'll tell you how many you're connected to, which is precisely why you can get a much, much greater range. I'm talking if you have the mobile device, you've got 70 meters, let's say, whereas if you have a remote on the Spark, it can go up to 1.5 miles. So that is a considerable distance. Now, had I done that reading before we went out, I wouldn't have gone to a big field with the intention of flying like over a lake and over a bridge, because of course I don't really have that range. So in truth, not the most ideal testing conditions. I did, however, then go back and just quickly fly up and down the garden, Mavic and Spark, so you can at least sort of see how they both fare in similar conditions. Now, again, I stressed before, this isn't a tech review, this isn't like an in-depth tech review, I'm not a tech channel. This is more just like me testing it out as I would use it as sort of a drone enthusiast. So, picture-wise, it's probably not the best comparison because I actually shoot my Mavic in the cine profile because I grade my footage, whereas the Spark doesn't have that option. So what you're seeing for the Spark is just like raw 1080 footage as it is, you know, with auto white balance. There aren't really many settings you can tweak, whereas on the Mavic, I do tweak quite a few things. And while both video samples in this vlog are graded to a certain extent, you'll of course get a slightly different picture. So long story short is this. Mavic shoots in 4K and it has a 3-axis gimbal. You're going to get smoother, higher quality footage on a Mavic. It's to be expected. It's the pricier drone, it is a better piece of kit. However, the Spark does produce a very, very nice picture. What I would say is if you're going to get the Spark, I would highly recommend getting it with the remote if you can, unless of course you only plan to say fly it around inside your house or maybe over your garden. If you're just going to be using it for, like, this is in my mind the ideal condition for the Spark and a mobile device. If you had like a family party and you just wanted to, like, I don't know, fly over the top of the garden or fly over like a venue, or maybe you had like a wedding reception and you were just on like a really cool place like a castle or something, you just wanted to like fly over the top to give people an idea of everyone that's down below. That would probably work with a mobile device because you can do it within 70 meters and you'll get a rough idea. If you, however, plan to, say, take it on holiday and use it as a small portable drone, you want to like go and fly it off the cliffs over some lakes and stuff, definitely get the remote. You might not want to fly it 1.5 meters out, and in most places you probably won't be able to because generally speaking, drone laws kind of require you have to fly it within sight. But at least having the option to fly sort of 200 or 300 meters down, then that is definitely something I would highly recommend. So picture-wise, it's great. And while yes, a 3-axis gimbal is better, if you're just doing smooth shots with the Spark, if you're flying forwards, you're kind of going up, then generally speaking you're fine. Of course, if you're going to be like swaying left and right, then you will see a little bit more. So you're just going to have to kind of think a little bit more about your flights. But generally speaking, it is a very good drone. And for the price, you are getting a great piece of kit. However, given that you'd need to buy the remote on top, you're probably looking more at $750. So I think the remote's about $150, similar again for pounds. So effectively, we're still looking like £700, give or take, but that is still considerably cheaper than the £1,000 Mavic. So that's basically it. That is my kind of very basic, not in-depth tech review based on the way that I use my drones. If you are sitting there thinking, I've always wanted a drone, but I don't want to buy a super expensive one, the Spark is probably for you. It's smaller, so in heavy wind conditions, it will get a little bit battered around, but it's quite portable. I will say that the Mavic does still have a slightly more compact profile simply because it can fold the wings up. So if you're trying to put it in a bag, then it's actually, at least I find personally for my bag, I find it easier to pack the Mavic because it can just fold down into like a rectangle, whereas the Spark, the wings stay out. But still, it's small. It could fit in a pocket if you have a big enough coat pocket. So it's very portable. It just doesn't have the longest battery life. So you'd either want to carry a second battery or just, you know, think carefully when you fly. But that's pretty much it. I don't want to ramble on too long. It's a good drone. Still a good product. I just would strongly recommend not getting it just to use with your phone because then you're going to have very, very limited use. So that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'm heading out to London this week to visit a couple of different game studios for some different events. So hopefully I'll be vlogging those ones to give you guys a look inside the places, the venues and stuff. So should be another vlog the latter part of this week. But until then, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.